Well, welcome all of you. I'm very impressed. We have so far 24 and counting. Uh, I'm David Lambert. I'm the chair of the Tacoma chapter of Western Washington Fellowship of Reconciliation. And I see some names and faces, and most of you I know, or at least acquaintance with, and a few of them I don't know. Some of you not involved. My understanding is some of you are not FOI members. Is that correct? Or that you don't have to say yes or no, but I'm just yeah. So let me um, these are joint meetings between Tacoma, Seattle, and Olympia. Meetings are generally held about at 6:30 to 8, unless otherwise indicated, the third Sunday monthly, except and I believe the month of May, usually when we have the spring assembly, and the fall, usually November, and the spring and fall retreats are held in those months, and so this isn't held at that time. But so welcome. Uh, I I want to say a little bit about for those of you who don't know much, if anything, about a Fellowship of Reconciliation. Internationally, Fellowship of Reconciliation is a long hauler. We started internationally in 1914, right after the beginning of World War One, and trying to find how to deal with this kind of insanity that was going on the European continent at that particular time. And and then the U.S. FOR started a year later in 1915, and then there was uh, I don't remember the exact date of it, but it was approximately, I think, in the late 60s or 70s sometime, about um, Western Washington FOR. And it would believe in nonviolence, and in the sense of cooperation, persistence, discipline. Is no easy way to peace, and war is terrible, and so it's okay. That's a hard thing to do. In our view, it's not only preferable, but it's the way to. We need it. There's no way to peace but peace. Um, that's not my own quote. Welcome. And by the way, there's a national FOR has, I see Susan Smith is on here, and she's part of the team at National. And welcome, Susan. And they have a wonderful website there, and there's also a statement about membership and that kind of thing. There's no cost. Uh, Once you're a member, you're a member for life, hopefully. And but you don't have to be a member to participate in FOR. You can be a supporter, and however much you want to do. So at this point, Vivi, if I can locate where you are, there you are. Our program director is Vivi Bartran, and she's was instrumental in getting Dvorah to speak tonight. And Vivi, by the way, I don't know, Dvorah and I communicated prior to this and said that Dvorah is willing to do a land acknowledgement, perhaps right after you introduce her, and then she'll do a short land acknowledgement and then get into her program. How's that sound?
That sounds fine. I'm not prepared for a land acknowledgement, though. But we in Tacoma are on the Puyallup land of the Native Americans, and we recognize that as stolen land. I will, if you listen to David, a Fellowship of Reconciliation started at World War One, where pastors were having a conference about how to stop the war. And while they were having the conference, they decided that they would work the war started, and they decided they would work together for peace on both sides. They were on different sides. And when I think of Dvorah, who I mostly know through her work with Fellowship of Reconciliation, she's a person that likes to work to make peace and to do what is passionate for other people that she sees in trouble. I remember she was part of the CBEC planning committee where I first met her, and she was a great asset in talking about the things that were going to happen. Also, she's come to some of our meetings before, and I remember she was in Ukraine, or she was next to Ukraine to help the Ukrainians. And now I saw her on Facebook that she was working for in Egypt, trying to get Gazan relatives and friends out of Gaza. So I asked her if she could tell her story, and she's going to do a slideshow and tell her story. Okay. And so I introduced to you D'vorah Kost.
All right. I'm muted. No, I'm not muted. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. And thank you, Vivi. Thank you, David. Thank you, Jean, for helping and support. Thank you, Western Washington, for asking me to present. It's my first time since being in Cairo to do any kind of presentation. So I'm both nervous and excited, and I'll begin with the land acknowledgement of right now. I'm on the Duwamish unceded lands and the First Peoples of wherever we're sitting, standing. We honor those first tenders and residents of this land, honoring the residents, first tenders of Israel, Palestine, and objecting to any occupation and takeover of land forcefully. So it's clearly there's a link between our native population here and the native Palestinians. I want to also begin with 3 slow breaths. If we could all just do that together. In Arabic, we say for breathing in, Shahir, Zafir. Shahir. Zafir. And I used my hands because I'm a body person. So we're breathing in. And we're breathing out all together. Thank you all for being here. My intention today is to bring you a little closer to the people of Gaza in general, to know what their lives are like, and to introduce you to those I have fallen in love with, those who have embraced me as family, whose values of peace and justice and safety for all are my values, are your values, I know, as so many of you have worked lifelong promoting those values. I want to paraphrase my Gazan friend Fadi Rauk, who you will soon meet in the slideshow, who would say, as have so many Gazans that I have met, that we love life. We are a sweet people. We are a good people. We love everyone. We love people. It doesn't matter what their nationality, their country, or their religion is. We just want to live our lives normally. We want to have a house, have a family, feed the birds, tend the gardens. We have no problem with Jewish people. Our problem is with governments, theirs as well as ours. But with the individual people, we love people and we just want to have lives like everybody else has. So along those lines, I want to make sure that I include in this talk other qualities that I have witnessed and come to know very well across the board of every Gazan that I've met. They have had to build their muscle of resilience for 17 years in Gaza and for 75 years for all of Palestine. The muscle of sumud, of resilience. They are people of the most extraordinary faith, which has taught them extraordinary patience. They are, by and large, among the better, well-educated people in the world, resourceful, very family-oriented in the very tight way, very honoring their traditions. And they are full of smiles and laughter and savoring the good and magnifying and amplifying joy whenever they can. And I just want to highlight those qualities because they want those qualities highlighted for people, to not see them as poor victims, to not see them as bedraggled people running amok on a land being devastated, but they are truly holding it together in ways that no other people could hold it together. I have manifested my activism, especially since October 7th, through love and relationships. With love, we can mend the world. It's a cliche, but it's also a truth. Loving in the larger agape universal sense of the word, and loving individually. It's one way that we can break through just hearing numbers that are fed to us. How many died? How many are injured? How many? Surely every day when we hear more numbers of people being killed in Gaza mostly, and in West Bank, and Israelis every now and then, we are hearing the deaths of them. But we get inured to numbers after a while. And what has happened with this war for me is that it's the first time with any war that I've protested, I've known people personally who are living it as we speak, who have escaped it and still have family there. I'm grateful that nobody that I've known personally has been killed, but the father in the family that I lived with, Wael Diab, his sister's family of 17 were all crushed in a house that fell, or a block of houses that fell. His sister Iman is still in Gaza. He talks to her almost every day. He's in Cairo. And she has one remaining son, and she's lost grandchildren. And in these ways, it's hard to fathom all the losses, not only of life, but of every aspect of their lives. So I speak directly to many Gazans, both in Cairo and in Gaza. Every week, I spend hours communicating with them. This morning, when I woke up, I opened my texts to see what was new. And my Bedouin friend, Iman, who is a mother of 4, she's in Cairo, escaped Gaza. She was from Mawazi camp in southern Gaza. And for the last number of weeks, she's been telling me about eye pain. And I talked to her on FaceTime, and she can't be on the phone because it hurts her eyes. So I talked to her 14-year-old daughter, and her 8-year-old daughter dances and sings for me, and sings a chant that says, "You are killing my family. You are taking my houses." Anyway, that's a side. I don't want to digress. Anyway, Iman, who has had eye pain for weeks, and she said she needs surgery. The doctors think that her eye pain of burning, a burning feeling, and like sand is in the eye and blurry vision, that is probably likely from the bombing and the flashes and the smoke and everything that her sensitive eyes have been through. She said she needs surgery. I said, "How much is it?" She said, $450. I thought, That's reasonable for eye surgery. And so I immediately sent her 450. And today that text read to me, she had her surgery. Ha! So that was like an enormous relief to me, because whenever I would talk to her, I would feel pain from her pain because I'm an empath. And inshallah, God willing, she will be healed and cured. Anyway, as you can see, my motivations for doing this work are both selfish as well as altruistic, because I don't like the pain that I feel when I hear of such suffering, which is why I went to Jordan in 2014 with Rita Zawaida. Some of you may know Rita Zawaida. She runs the Salam Cultural Museum and Medical Missions. And in 2014, it was a year after I retired. I had free time. It was a year after my mother died. I had an inheritance. I had resources to travel. So I got on board with Rita. We went to Jordan and worked for 8-9 days with Syrian refugees, set up dental clinics. I was part of the humanitarian team, and I mostly played with children, which I loved, while their parents were in medical appointments. That trip changed my life for good. It taught me that there's nothing that gives me a greater sense of purpose in life than working with a team with refugees on the ground. And so having spent 30 years as a social worker, again, alleviating suffering. And now that since I didn't have that work, I needed to continue to feel like I was alleviating suffering. My expertise was in crisis intervention. I worked emergency rooms and also stress management, and elder issues of aging. So 2014 to Jordan, 2015 and 2016, I went with Jerry Haynes to Gaza. That was with Washington Physicians for Social Responsibility. And it is then in 2015 that I met the Diabs, the family who has since become my family. Wejdan Diab ran a kindergarten, and I went and played with the children at the kindergarten, and she and I bonded very strongly over our love of children and also the creative instinct. From 2017 to 22, I was in Greece a couple of times working with Syrian refugees again, because Gaza was harder to get into, and our delegation that continued to try to go would get declined by Israel to let us through their Erez border. So I was working another couple of years with Syrian refugees, and then when I heard about all the millions of Ukrainians being displaced and fleeing Ukraine in 2022, knowing a person in Krakow, I took myself to Krakow and began to work for several weeks with Ukrainian refugees, both in shelters and with children's art. So I'd found my sense of purpose, and now to tell you about the family of Diabs. There are 6 that includes Fuad. He's the son-in-law. There's you'll see them all on the slides shortly, but I just want to run them by you here in advance. Wejdan, the mom who runs the kindergarten, and Wael, her husband, and Mira, the 25-year-old daughter married to Fuad, and the sons, Wassam and Suhail, are dentists, which is significant because my father was a dentist. And now that these sons have adopted me as a second mother, and they are my sons, I can express to my father, wherever he is located, long past, that he now has 3 to 4 grandsons who are dentists. Plus, it's because of the inheritance from my father having made money through the stock market That's a detail. But anyway, he did. And so I came into an inheritance, which has allowed me to both do the travels and give my money away to people in need. On October 7th, I talked to Mira, and she was at that time 7 months pregnant. And Mira was saying, you have to get us out of here. You have to get us out of here. The bombs are going off. We have to leave Gaza City. We're being displaced. And every day or so, I would hear from this family very worried about Mira getting out of Gaza to save her pregnancy. I felt that I felt urgent to do whatever I could. Somehow I managed to get the father out earlier, or he got himself out also with connections and the fact that he had had a stroke. And he took his family to the border for him and the rest to get out, but only he was let out, and the rest of his family had to remain in Gaza. And he went off alone to Cairo, and they were all heartbroken. It is dreadful every time family needs to separate, as you can imagine. That's another, I could talk about that for a long time, but that'll be later, maybe. Anyway, for a month or so, there was no exit for Palestinians. They were fleeing and they were running and they were staying here and they were staying there, moving from shelter to shelter and city to city. The foreign nationals could get out. Those who had family in the U.S. could get out, but Gazan Palestinian passports were not allowed out in any way, shape, or form until there became a system of coordinators. And if you were lucky, and if you had enough money, that the under the surface, under the table, Egyptian coordinator, whether they were asking 3,000 or 5,000 or 7,000, if you found someone who could get you out and you found the money, then you could get out of Gaza. Until the Hala office took hold and people were able to get out officially. Prior to that happening, I had sent $9,000 for 3 people to get out. That would have been Fuad and Mira and her mother, so they could join the father in Cairo. By the time the money went through, the price had gone up to 5,000. So Mira and Fuad got out, and Wejdan, her mom, had to stay. More family separation. I think I'm going to start the slideshow now. And I'm going to come back later on and say why Gaza, as a Jew, I just want to say that working to help the Palestinian cause has been imperative for me. And so I will say more about that later, but I think it's time to show some pictures. And so I will go to my screen share. Let's see. Okay, I think I can do this. And then I go share. And then, do you see it?
Yes. Now.
Okay. So this is, some of you may recognize the news clipping. I brought the news clipping to Cairo with me because I wanted to show the family how Seattle supports their cause. This was from the blockage of I-5, a huge protest in January where they stopped traffic on I-5 for 3 hours from an overpass and on the ground. And when I brought this to Cairo, Wejdan, being the artist that she is, turned it into this poster. Now, here is my friend Fadi at the demonstration that blocked the freeway. Fadi visited me in January for 2 weeks. He's Gazan from Khan Yunis, where his whole family spent 4 or 5 months in the war. But Fadi didn't, because he's a medical student in Bangladesh. And he's been there for 6 years, not able to travel home to Gaza. Oops, what's that? Anyway, so so he visited me for 2 weeks because he needed a break. He and I had been on the phone
nearly every day since the war began because he
Because
needed to talk to me about his family, about how he was stressed
stressed
out
out
so
so
much
much
being
being
a
a Gaza.
Gaza, India. Go on the road.
My echo.
Just
Yeah.
doing.
Okay.
Okay.
You need to
All right.
mute everybody.
Yeah. Everybody needs to be muted.
Okay. So I'll take a pause now. Is my voice okay? And are things coming through other than all
Mhm.
that?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, let me say that Fadi has been gone from Gaza for 6 years, not able to travel back because when Gazans travel back to visit their family in Gaza, they don't know if they'll get out again because they don't know when the next war is going to start or when the border will be open. Because the border to Egypt from Gaza, the only way that Gazans can get out, is often closed, has been closed for a year straight. So he didn't chance it. He needed to finish his medical school. Anyway, he's in his last year. And he came to Seattle for 2 weeks on his break. And I took him to this march, and he was so delighted. And you can see how happy he is to see how much support there is in Seattle, for one, for his people. We ran a fundraiser at my house for his family to raise a lot of money to help his family get out. And by the time I got to Cairo, his mother and his brother had gotten out. Here I am in Cairo, the week of January 20th. This brother, Hassan, he was in Cairo when the war began. He's a lawyer and he was doing some business in Cairo. He could not get back into Gaza. And as Fadi was, stressing about family, so was he. Here's the mom, here's brother Shadi. We raised 10,000 to get them out. They invited me to come visit, of course. And whenever a Palestinian family invites you to visit, they have a meal for you. So we're sitting at the table, and these two additional people, this is Fuad
Yes, yes.
of Mira. Mira is my Gazan daughter and birthday twin. They took me to Fadi's family's home. A few weeks later, Fadi raised enough money through contacts that he had made in Seattle. A lot of people in Seattle were contributing to his family. So his father got out, and his nephew, the son of the sister, Ola, who delivered this baby a few days before the war began. So she was new mother to baby during the whole war. It was not easy. Anyway, the family is all together now in Cairo, except for Fadi, who is still in Bangladesh. Hopefully he'll get to Cairo soon when he graduates. Fadi did join us on the Zoom screen, though, because he needed to see us all together. There we are in home, Fadi on screen. Mira and Fuad. I think I mentioned that Mira was pregnant during the war. November 30th, she went into labor. She was in Rafah. She hadn't gotten out yet. The hospital was inadequate. There was no doctor to treat her. Her blood pressure was off the charts with no medication to bring her blood pressure down. Those of you who know medicine know that women with high blood pressure, uncontrolled, they usually lose their baby, and she did. When I was talking to her from Seattle, and she had lost the baby, and she missed her mother, and she missed me, and I figured I could get to Cairo sooner than her mother could, a stone's throw away. And I'm in Seattle, but I was able to book a flight to Cairo and go be with Mira to help her in her grief, and Fadi. They lost their baby full term, and she almost died herself because it was still difficult to control her blood pressure with no medication available. So she hadn't grieved. She hadn't cried much. She was worried too much about getting out and settling and getting in. And finally, she's crying, and she cried often with me while I was there. And it was so good. It was so good for both of us. We connected in many ways. This was the apartment that the father had managed to get for us. And this is a garment that the father had bought for me for my birthday. It's a full-length kufiya. There we are again. Just showing you our connection. This is before the rest of the family had arrived, but Father Wael wants to prepare a special dish for an evening dinner. No sound. Where's my sound? Well, anyway, this is a traditional Palestinian meal called makhluba. What I'm saying in the location is, here is the chef, Wael. Fortunately, Wael likes to cook because his wife doesn't. He's the main cook, and they're running it again. That begins the release of the meal. Fuad is a wonderful host. He's a sweetheart. He is, until we got Wajdan and the two sons into the apartment, which happened about 10 days after my arrival, through the Hala office. He could never relax. His mind was always on the family in Gaza. This is his father, though. Father in Cairo, Wael's father, Wael's sister. They got to Cairo earlier on. However, this whole family had to flee the Rafah border when Israel, while Gazans were waiting at the border to cross, Israel put out a threat that there might be a bomb there. And so all those trying to flee had to run for their lives. They've experienced the war. This is Misk. She's an artist. You will see her work later. I gotta move along. Mira and I share a birthday party. We were hoping that Wajdan and Suhail and Wissam would be in time for our birthday party on January 29th. It was not. So we had only some of the family there, Fuad, Mira, and me. While we were at this restaurant celebrating our birthday party, this man was at a table nearby. He recognized that they were from Gaza. He came over and introduced himself. Abu Sharia is his last name, Mr. Abu Sharia. And he became known during the first weeks of the war for being an American, Palestinian American, living, I think, in New Jersey, but 100 of his family members were killed in the war. He was sitting at the restaurant with his son right behind us over here at this table. They were getting the son's fiance out of Gaza. But this man had lost 100 family members. The whole block of the compounds for his family were shelled. As you can see my face, I'm like beside myself. This man who's smiling, and I could hardly stand. But that's what they do. They smile and they recover and they say, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, meaning it is God's will. Here's Wajdan. She made it in. We were at the breakfast table their first morning in Gaza with the olive oil that she brought from Gaza. And she is telling us that I think when the family went to the border with all their suitcases earlier on, hoping to cross, again, they were told to flee. They left their suitcases at the border, and the olive oil remained in their suitcases at the border before they could cross for 4 months. And she was able to pick it up the last night when they actually did leave Rafah. We're going to go around and see the family at the table. Lama and Suhail are arriving for their first morning. Suhail and his fiance, Lama. There's Fuad at the back. This is the breakfast. They make good breakfasts. They're very consistent with their good breakfasts. Oh, there's Mira without her hijab. I'm so sorry. Okay, pass on to that. She would not. Oops. Yeah. Okay, so these two, they were engaged to be married at the time. Their wedding was planned for October. The war began. They obviously weren't going to get married. But when Suhail's family, when we got 15,000 for him and Wejdan and his brother to come out, they really wanted Lama to be with him. And so we got another 5,000 and Lama came with him and moved into our flat with him. And the two of them shared the bedroom because it was wartime and we were crowded into a small flat. And her family had not yet arrived. And she was crying every day because she was here with her in-law family, but her mother, father, sister, and brother were still in the war that she knew so well. And that was what was so hard. Every Gazan that you meet who made it into Cairo still has loved ones in Gaza, and they can never completely relax or enjoy. Here's Wejdan, the mama. This is the first night here. And she brought with her children's art. She's describing this piece to me. She would, when she was displaced into Rafah, she saw that children were playing from the tents and they had nothing to play with and they had nothing to do and there were no organized activities. So she would go to the tents where they were from the shelter that she was in, and she bought supplies and she fixed up paints and she invited a lot of children to paint. And she asked this children, what is this child? And he said, this is my house before it was bombed.
Oh.
And I wanted to call it the Peace House. So he wrote Salam, and house in Arabic, Beit. And he said, this child was an orphan. He'd been buried in the rubble and he was pulled out and his parents were not. Three siblings were pulled out, but he lost a sibling. And he said, I want to be an engineer like my dead father, and I want to build my house again. Anyway, I came back to Seattle. All the children gave their artwork to Wejdan. She told them she could give it to me and I could bring the artwork to Seattle. And there will be many more exhibits to come. It has been exhibited in a few places so far. There will be more. There's a nice shot of Mira. I'll just show you her looking beautiful with the hijab. I had to get a solo of Mira. She and I are just in love. Okay, here's grandfather. How come I have no sound? He's playing the harmonica that I brought. The family was gathered on the first night of Wejdan Suhail, and any ideas for how I can, well, they're all laughing. He's playing harmonica. He never played a harmonica before. This is an extended family, all joined. Okay. But everybody's cracking up. He's a professor. He's a college professor. He's written 4 books. He's actually the dean of the Islamic College in Cairo. He's a very proper man. He wears a suit everywhere. I'm surprised he doesn't have his tie on tonight, or maybe he does. And so for them to see him playing harmonica was fabulous.
D'vorah, sometimes there's a separate mic on the bottom of your screen.
Oh, let's see. Separate mic on the screen. Oh, would that be it?
It looks like a mic.
Well, you know what? When there is someone speaking, oh, what did I do? Uh-oh. I didn't want to do that.
It wasn't a problem with the mic, it was the speaker.
Oh, I didn't want to do that. Can I take that out?
This-
Sorry, go back to screen sharing. Go close that. Okay, thanks. The next number of slides will show you the faces of family members. This is Wael's sister, the grandfather's daughter. And what I feel these faces capture is both their relief in the fact that they are in Cairo and safe, and that they have many loved ones left behind. Relief and concern. Relief and concern. This is one of the cousins whose mother and sisters and brothers were in Gaza at this time. He is 18 and he got into Cairo in September with his father to start medical school. Neither father nor Abdullah, this man, could go back home to Gaza to be with their family, and instead they suffered enormously, while other family members had the money and I guess were prioritized. There was no rhyme or reason. You have to choose. Okay, you're raising 15,000. Who's going to come of all these family members? His family, for whatever reason, had to wait. Another in-law whose family is still in Gaza. I hardly ever saw her smile at any family gathering. And there were many family gatherings. This is Lama, the fiance of Suhail, who came with Suhail Wajdan Wissam, who you saw, but left her mother, father, younger sister, and brother back in Gaza. This is her first night arriving, and she is so sad, even though she is safe, because she thinks about what she went through in the war, and they're still doing it. This is one nuclear family who have a flat in Cairo because he's got Egyptian citizenship as well as Gazan citizenship. That's the husband of Mayada. Okay. Oh, this is just a fun photo at a restaurant we went to because they need to celebrate as well. And this is something called machluba. No, melochia, traditional soup. Watch his skilled pouring. Backhanded. I'm going to say something about joy. Oops. I'm going to pause for a second. Wait. Some people from Gaza don't allow themselves to sing, don't allow themselves to dance, don't allow themselves to celebrate while the war is on. And I can appreciate that. This family uses it as a coping skill, which helps them to cope and hold all that they are holding. Kim,
Yes.
I need to plug my computer in.
Yeah.
I see that my charge is going down.
I got it.
Anyway, what happened in this scene, which I'm not getting sound on, but we're chanting a chant that they started saying. One of them was saying, Bidni al Nil, Bidni al Nil, Bidni al Nil, Bidni al Nil. We're clapping, Bidni ad, and everybody's clapping, and everybody's chanting, and everybody's saying Bidni al Nil, Bidni ruach al Nil, which means we want to go to the Nile. So we planned a trip to the Nile. And everybody was laughing and everybody was smiling. And this is what I can do pretty easily. And they really wanted me to do this kind of silliness as I could. Anyway, we did go to the Nile. This is Mira and I at an iconic statue. I think this was before Wajdan, Suhail, and Lam. No, they came too. Yeah, we all went. Yeah, this was when everybody had arrived. This is a boat on the Nile. You can get on one and go for an hour, and there's music, and it's a little video that shows the water behind it. I'm not okay. We plug me in.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. I'm not sure why it's not. It's a little video and it's not moving. Oh, now we are. Okay. Oops. Okay. On to Muna. So this is Muna al-Satari. I heard her husband, Akram al-Satari, on a podcast this morning. He's a journalist. So she's married to Akram al-Satari. Some of you may have heard him if you listen to Democracy Now! Some of you may have heard him on CNN. He reports out of Gaza. She had some health issues and came into Cairo earlier on in the war with two of her sons. Akram, her husband, insisted on staying behind because he needed to report from on the ground. And one son stayed behind. Eventually, the remaining son came into Cairo to be with Muna and his brothers, along with Muna's sister, who you will see here, and Muna's mother. But Akram is still in Gaza, in spite of, like, I don't know the current count of journalists killed, but as many of you know, journalists have been targeted. And Akram has been injured, but he continues to insist on staying. And so now you're 1 degree removed from Akram al-Satari when you hear him next reporting from Gaza on the ground. This is her beautiful sister, Afra, who came with her daughter after several months in the war. She still has her husband and all her relatives in Gaza, because who can keep raising $5,000 per person? Mona and her and Afra's mother. And I just feel like this face is, I think, a quintessential face of a Gazan elder woman with determination that the war will end and there will be survival and thriving for Gazans and Palestinians. And that's what they hold on to, inshallah, someday. Mona is showing, no, Afra, the sister, is showing me her house and telling me that it's all been destroyed. Often you will see all the rubble and you will still see the walls standing, but the interior is completely dismantled, disrupted, crushed. The walls still stand. They built strong walls. So she's showing me, the first time I met her, she's pulling out her camera and her photos to show me, which is what most of the Gazans would do who I would meet at some point in time. They're pulling me aside. They're showing me the home that they had, or they're showing me the business that they ran, or they're showing me the celebrations that they had, or the travels that they'd done. They're pulling up their memories and they're showing me to bring in a foreigner, to bring in an American, to what their lives are supposed to be like, to what their lives were like, to what they have lost. They often say they've lost all their memories, because they did. All the memorabilia, all the heirlooms, all the documents, all the writings, all the books, photos, old photos, a family, a collection of vinyl albums that one young man listened to all the time. He loved vinyl, one of the cousins, and his grandfather's record collection, which then became his father's record collection, and then became his record collection, destroyed. Now, I really would love to get the sound. Let me try something else. Does anybody have any other suggestions for how I can get my sound up?
Well, no.
D'vorah?
Playing.
So this is a video taken of these singers. Well, you can imagine a wonderful song being sung. They're singing about Gaza will survive. They're singing in the rubble. We're eating. They're singing. The children are clapping and shouting. People standing on the balconies are joining.
Pull down the Zoom settings.
Pull down the Zoom settings.
It's on the audio. It's not
Well,
on-
you can,
over here.
I'll just ask you to, you know what?
So,
Just see the children clapping with the background, and this is what they live in. I'm sure you've seen the images. But if you can find the musician,
more,
here,
more, no, more,
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 here,
more.
oh, more. Hold on a second, folks. Trying something. More.
There's a, share sound.
Share sound?
Yeah.
Share sound.
Maybe that will work.
Let's see.
Can
No.
you try clicking on the little speaker
Should change
icon
it.
at the bottom of your screen? That might give you
That's
settings.
Oh, here's a,
that's your
oh, okay.
Can you click on that again? Well, I mean the speak you're hearing.
Yeah,
Not it. Try more again.
my speaker. Okay, more again.
No, not that one. That one.
What about this one? No, that's on. Could it be here? No,
And try more again.
more here.
Yeah.
All right, we won't take any more time with this after a moment, but let's just see if you know what to do.
Try clicking more again. What happened? I think you went to full screen, so it's not.
All right,
showing.
all right.
Sorry.
Okay. We'll imagine sound, or we'll imagine being hard of hearing. Okay, this is Haya. She's Lama, the fiance. She's kind of my machatennista for those who know Yiddish. It's the mother-in-law to my son. Suhail is my son, and she's his mother-in-law. She's talking about the journalist who's sitting at our table with us, another journalist who wasn't, here he is. His name is Eunice. He's come to visit. And he's also taken some video of the children in the house when we had an art project. He's talking about how it's harder to be, in some ways, it's harder to be free and safe in Cairo because he lived through so much war and he was so up front and center with it. And when he's in Gaza, that he's in reality. And when he's in Cairo, it's not quite as real. But he knew that he had to come because he needed a life for his children. This is the Hala office. There was an article in the New York Times recently about the Hala office, tourist office, official Egyptian company with allegedly connections to the Egyptian government. They set up a system whereas people they charge $5,000 per person to get free. And this is, I don't know, I'm lost control of my wires here. Okay. 2,500 for children. What you do is you bring 5,000 per person in US dollars, freshly minted US bills. If they're old US dollars, they won't take them. $100 bills has to be in $100 US bills. And so all these guys have a lot of money on them. But the office, which was supposed to be open today, it's now closed. Maybe they got there too late, or maybe they were those who didn't get to register. And then you register the names. And then a week or two, the names get on a list. And then the following morning, the people are called to leave Rafah and cross the border into the Sinai Desert, cross the Sinai Desert, and get to Cairo. And the van will bring you to, oh, these are running. I'm not, whoa, oh, I see. Hold on a second. Sorry. Okay, I just want to share about this. Anyway, the van brings people from the Rafah border of Cairo up to Cairo, and they get delivered at our curbside. Yeah. Anyway, it's a dreadful process that I could talk for an hour about. The first time I was in Cairo, which was when I was most urgent, I had no idea nobody had any idea the war was going to go on this long. But there was a way to get people out through Hala. We were trying to get them out trying to raise money, going to Western Union, collecting money, back and forth. There's limits. The Western Union puts limits on you, and MoneyGram is really complicated, and the bureaucracy is ridiculous. And those who can collect at Western Union are limited. Anyway, it was a nightmare, but we got about 25 people out in January. Okay. Here's one of the vans with our family. This is Fuad's family, Dr. Sofian. Here's Fuad's twin brother hugging Wejdan. And here's Fuad's brother, another brother hugging a cousin. And here's the family taking a picture in front of a mirror, which is in the lobby of our apartment. Wait a second. This is the mom who Fuad had been waiting for and worried about. This is Adnan and Abdallah, whose sisters and mother finally came in. This is theirs. They got here. Warda and Zaina and Juri. I must pause on those girls. Pause. Sorry. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. All right. Warda, the mama, Zaina, 22-year-old, studying to be an ophthalmologist, but right now studying advanced optical biometrics. And she is so depressed now in Cairo because she doesn't have a purpose, and she doesn't go to school, and she doesn't have clients who she treats. And I talked to her on the phone, and I'm encouraging her to do art, and she's an amazing artist, and you will see some of her art at the end. So although she can't get into school right now, she can do her art, which she actually took to a festival to sell recently, so she can make some money. Little Juri, a redhead, and you will see some redheaded Palestinians. You will see blonde Palestinians. Juri has some eye problems, which might be why Zayn is becoming an ophthalmologist. There are two older brothers who got out when they did. Okay. Oops. Darn it. This is Fuad's family. They invited me over for a dinner. I don't know why it keeps jumping. Anyway, four boys, and then Mira and the mama in pink, and the papa, he's a doctor. This papa, Dr. Sofian, he's retired from his family practice in Gaza, who he treated anybody who would need. He prided himself on being a doctor who he didn't care about the money. He just would serve anybody who needed medical treatment. And now he is doing a telecast, a live stream every night to offer telecast medical help to whoever comes on. He has people all over the world who tune into his telecast. You could too, if I get his number. You could get medical advice from Dr. Sofian, the father of these boys. All right. This is Lama's family arriving. Here's Lama wiping tears away. Here's her mother. They are seeing each other after she left them at the border and didn't see them for weeks. But they finally arrived while I was still there. We were all so happy. Oh my God, here's her father. And you'll see the little sister somewhere. Okay, down there. Oh, here's the father and the younger sister. This little Irene would cry every day for her older sister Lama, who left earlier. And there they all are. This is the fellow Mustafa, whose father's vinyl record collection he would listen to every day after school. He loves music. He loved the record player. He loved the vinyl. He lost all the albums and all his music and the lessons he was taking on a very special instrument, a traditional instrument. So when I saw him, he pulled me aside and he wanted to show me some of his camera scenes of his music and playing his music. And I said, Mustafa, I want to buy you an instrument so you can play an instrument while you're here. And this was after I left. I left money for for the guys to take him to a music store, and he did buy an instrument, and he is playing his instrument. And when I told him, actually, maybe it was while he's showing me his camera, he pulls a scarf of he pulls a Palestinian flag, and he says, "I want you to have this. I want you to take this with you. This is the flag that I've had in my room all this time, and I brought it with me. I wasn't going to let the war destroy my Palestinian flag." I said, "I can't take your flag." He said, "I want you to have it." I said, "I can't take it." And I began to tear up. And he said, "I want you to have it." And when somebody tells you they want you to have it, and when you know how precious it is to them, you have to take it, because that's what they want to do. That's what he wanted to do. So I took his flag and I used it as a frame for his sister's art piece, which you'll see at the end of the slideshow. That all makes sense? Okay. Okay. Here's when the family gathers. This was a what do you call it? A panorama shot. I always forget I have this on my camera, but the family sits in a big circle. So this is not a straightaway. Obviously, it's a circle, but these are the different groupings of the folks in the extended Diab family. And there's about twice as many when we have the full gang here. This guy, Nael, can I raise these up? Oh, I just want to point out Nael. He was a director of a hospital in Gaza. Yeah. And he had to sleep on a mattress outside of the shelter when they got displaced. And now he has a terrible back problem, and he's a dear soul. Okay. They're all dear souls. This is the young man who I mentioned, young man, he's 13. I brought pipe cleaners to his home. He's not in the family. He's in the Bedouin family that I met when I was there in April. I brought pipe cleaners, and he wrote this. He's a brilliant creative. I gave him the pipe cleaners. He went off. He played with them, and that's what he created. And he laid them on the floor. He makes kites out of plastic bags. He makes cars out of found objects. He's like going to be a famous engineer someday. His name is Ahmed. His mother is Iman, who had the eye surgery recently. He's got a young sister who's 8, and a younger sister, an older sister who's 14, who's an artist and a journalist herself. Again, they are brilliant. They are smart, inventive, creative. They love to laugh. They love to show you what they can do. And I love this child, and I love his family. His father had an olive orchard. Every tree is destroyed. They were from Mawasi, which had a playground bombed. So all kinds of stories. The stories never end. I just had to show Laura. She came over one day to do paint. She knew Wejdan from her. She was a former kindergarten student of Wejdan's. She loved painting, and she lost the vision of her right eye in the war. She got hit by shrapnel. It took out her right eye. She still has vision in her left eye, but she is a happy camper. And there's music playing in the background, and she is singing the song. And pretty soon you're going to see her start to act and dance. And the music is playing, and she's singing the words to the song. And she's being sassy, like all young girls are sassy when they sing the songs. And now she's in Malta getting eye surgery. So maybe she'll I don't know if she'll get vision, or maybe she's just getting a prosthetic eye, so it's not looking so damaged. But she is singing and painting at the same time. And that is a quintessential. She loves laying on this paint. She can't get enough paint on. Anyway, that's Lara. I gave her a kaleidoscope. I brought with me a kaleidoscope. And when you look in a kaleidoscope, you have to close one eye. So it worked for her. She looked in it with her good eye, and she was really happy to receive that. And I gave her a puppet that she loved also. Okay, this is the grandma of the Diabs. This is my South African daughter, Pam. Some of you might have met her at CBEC, where she came a couple of times, I think. And since she lives in Johannesburg, I decided to bring up that part of, she and her daughter came up to Johannesburg for the wedding. Because Johannesburg is one 8-hour flight down straight up to Cairo. So she joined us for a week and came to the family wedding and was so welcomed by the family. You will see her daughter in one of the next photos. What time am I at? Oh, these are a group that they were the ones whose parents were killed in the house that collapsed. These young children, these 3 were under rubble. They survived, lost both parents, and they have 4 cousins who lost their parents, and the 8 children are cousins. They live together. This is one of the moms who survived. It's complicated. Anyway, survivors, all orphans, these 4. Yeah. Here's one of them who just had an enormous amount of life and vibrancy in her, as you can see in those eyes. And then she also had her sadness, which you can see in those eyes. She said she's glad her parents are in paradise now. And that's what the children believe, that their parents are having a good time in paradise. They totally believe in paradise. The adults do too. And it's a nice place. And everybody's 30 years old in paradise because that's a prime age. And they all believe that. These are some of the surviving members of that family. She's actually 13 or 14. She wants to be a doctor. And she lost her uncle, who was the one who was encouraging her to be a doctor. And may she be a doctor. I think she will be. Here's Kwande, my granddaughter from Johannesburg, who came up with her mom. This is another family altogether, but a strong connection that I've known, Allah, Asakir, I've known for years and years. He runs the Palestine charity team, and he got, with funding, GoFundMes, and all the ways, he got all his family out of Gaza. They are now in a flat in Rafah. I mean, in Cairo. This is there, and this is them playing with, what time is it now? What time is it?
7:38.
Okay. All right. I gotta get off for questions. So I'm gonna end with this little girl dancing because it is so dear. Wait. Oh, child drawing a dark cloud. When you ask them what they want to draw, they want black. They want black, and they draw clouds and smoke and bombs and blackness. The final Diab family who got out, that's at the wedding I mentioned. Yep, there was a wedding. A little controversial to have a wedding while there's war, but they really wanted Lama and Suhail to get married. One of the orphan children. This is Mayada's artwork. This is some more artwork. I want to turn these into posters and sell them for fundraisers. This is Zaina, the one who wants to be the ophthalmologist. She made a flap for the eye. When you lift this flap, there's tears coming out of the half a face underneath, because she said we pretend to be patient, but we are broken inside. And that's what you'll see from much of the art. There's all kinds of eyes with tears. The children have faces that are crying. This is Misk's acrylic painting. This is Misk's eye that has been turned into a poster. You will see what a good artist she is. She's 14, but she knows how to do dimension. And this was her design with the Palestinian flag as the iris. There's Misk, the one who did the eye, and the others, and her sister Mesa and Maya, who's a fabulous dancer. And this is Irene's drawing, the sister of Lama, whose brother Mustafa gave me his Palestinian flag from Gaza. These are now in my home. And oh, some more art. Oh, a collage of what was done. Back to the beginning. Okay, that is my slideshow. Stop my screen share.
Thank you so much, Dvorah.
Okay.
So much.
I can't talk fast enough. I hope I didn't talk too fast that you couldn't follow what I was saying.
I think it was wonderful.
Smiling. Ariel, you're giving me a hands up. There's another Elaine. Nice to see you. Thank you all for being here. Hi, Bert. Thank you. Thank you. Let me see who else is here on the other screen. Rosie and Ethan and Jim. Wow. Okay. And Nora, thank you for coming. And my cousin Stephen Berkeley. We even have Australia here, my former housemate. And Meg, hello. Anyway, hi you all. Questions, taking questions. Any questions?
Dvorah, how long would those people be able to stay in Egypt?
That's a question that nobody knows the answer to. Since they don't have anywhere else to go, it would be a real travesty if Egypt kicked them out without anywhere to go. If our country starts accepting Gazan refugees, inshallah, may that happen. Some will come here. I know South Africa has opened their doors, but and Australia I know is very amenable, and other countries will hopefully be amenable. There are apparently 100,000 refugees from Gaza now in Cairo. By the way, they get displaced month to month when the rent goes up. I wanted to mention that. Just because they're in Cairo doesn't mean they have any easy time of it. It's a dreadful time there, and many of them wish they were back in Gaza, frankly, because it hurts them so much to have family going through the war. But finding apartments they can afford, because guess what? The landlords are taking advantage of the war and raising the rent because there are more people needing apartments.
Yeah.
And they have no income. They've lost their income. So everybody is scrambling to support themselves in Cairo. And if any of you, I want to add that if any of you would like a personal connection, and if any of you might be willing to even give $25 or $50 a month to a given family that you begin to know well, and they do FaceTime, and you can get their story on FaceTime, and you can you can have somebody that you're helping. $50 covers food for like 4 days or 5 days for a family. Food is really cheap there. Anyway, let me know if any of you want to take on an adopted Gazan family, either in Gaza or in Cairo, and I will matchmake you. Okay. Other question. Jane.
Jane, Jane,
Unmute.
yeah. Unmute.
Dvorah, I'm wondering if
Yes.
you have a perspective going forward on your involvement.
I want to raise more money. I want the art to be exhibited in a lot of places. I want the art exhibit to raise money, and I want to make posters that are sold at art exhibits and posters that are sold anywhere that make money. And I want the money that's raised to go to support the families of the children who are in Cairo.
How about farther forward?
Farther forward.
Mhm.
You
If
know,
have it.
really, well, I plan to continue to go to Cairo. I have a place to stay there, and I'm going to continue to go, and I'm going to do, more healing work. And I know that, people all over are rising to the occasion to help the refugees in Cairo. And there are a lot of, there are more than 1 million Sudanese refugees in Cairo as well. So we know what's going on in Sudan. One of the families there I know and met up with, but humanitarian, like a community center and a school, so that the people can start to have jobs and bring in an income. And I will say, actually, I got word that the dentists in the family found a dentist who was amenable to hiring them into his clinic. I just found this out a few days ago. To take over the pediatric rooms for this dental clinic, if they could afford 20,000 Egyptian pounds, which is $450 a month, to pay rent for the clinic. They could work full-time as dentists and take care of the Gazan children and Egyptian children. So I found myself, amongst my friends, 5 or 6 who can contribute 100 or 50 a month to support the rent of their dental clinic, so they can say yes, and these family dentists can get back to work. So that's one of things like that happen, and there are a lot of ways to go forward. There are a lot of ways to go forward.
Well, Elaine is next. Elaine? We can't hear you, Elaine.
You're muted, Elaine.
Yeah.
Or at least we can't hear you.
Maybe come back to Elaine when can you unmute? Is it the muting?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, D'vorah, can you tell us about the film?
Okay, Nadim, are you here still? He may have left. I wanted to introduce you to Nadim. Let me see if he's on the next screen. I don't think. Anyway,
I'm here, Dvorah.
Oh, Nadim. I met Nadim about a week before I took off for my second trip to Cairo. We met at an If Not Now demonstration in late March, and he wanted to find out what I was up to, and he is a filmmaker, and he had the time to come to Cairo with me for my second trip to document, to record and get on camera everything that I was experiencing, because it was pretty extraordinary. And so he came. Nadim, you want to say something about where we're at with the film?
Yes, I think meeting Dvorah was also, I would say, some sort of a divine intervention, or something, universe working in mysterious ways for me to meet her and to be able to accompany her for 35 days nonstop filming between 3 families. Dvorah has quite extensively talked about this evening. And so I was able to capture some of the most moments which I must say I'm still sort of digesting the kind of material we have. It's a very intimate film with Dvorah and these Palestinian families, and how it encompasses this greater humanity which I wasn't ready to sort of embark in such a short time. So it's really a pleasure working with her, and we are moving forward. Lots of interest in our project, and I can't wait to tell you all more soon. It's quite an incredible story of her and everyone else we encountered. And the most moving full of all of them, and it's very hard for me to share, is the orphan kids which Dvorah has shared with you, a photograph, and their story and how they were under the rubble and rescued with unfinished surgeries, how they were brought in to Cairo, and all that story is just I it was too overwhelming to even for me to sort of talk to you at this moment, and I'm sure you all will see in the film in some capacity of the Palestinian memory.
We interviewed the grandmother of these 8 orphans. So the grandmother lost two of her sons and the 2 of her daughters-in-law. So two sets of family. But then those who survived came across with the grandmother took them in to care for them along with her surviving sons. I think 2 sons survived. 2 sons died, 2 sons survived. So the children are in the care of the grandmother and the uncles. Yeah.
Reagan?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Dvorah, for this intimate glimpse into the reality of the tragedy unfolding over there. I have a quick question. I was wondering if you and perhaps Nadim as well are familiar with the organization Combatants for Peace. And if you're familiar with the documentary, Disturbing the Peace.
I don't know if I've seen that.
I will send you a sheet of paper with a whole bunch of links on it to the documentary, to the trailer. They have a 2.5-minute trailer, and I would welcome both of your thoughts about the work they do. For those of you that are not familiar with Combatants for Peace, it's a joint Israeli-Palestinian organization made up of people who were formerly combatants in one form or another and have concluded and have been working together for almost 20 years from the belief that violence is not going to create the society they want for their children and their children's children. And so they have an annual memorial ceremony that brings together Palestinians and Israelis who have suffered loss and grief in this conflict. And they also have an annual Nakba remembrance ceremony that remembers the displacement of Palestinian families in 1948, a process of displacement that continues to this day. So anyway, yeah, thank you to both of you. And Nadim, I hope that your film comes together and that it might be available, and perhaps FOR could send out information when it is available.
Oh, absolutely. I wanted to maybe have asked D'vorah if we can have everybody's email somehow, somewhere, so we can update you on the progress with the film. And it's really at this moment, it's a labor of love, and it's getting out, and it's got an insane amount of, I mean, the intimacy of D'vorah and the Palestinian families. I was just an observer with the camera, but seeing their interaction, seeing their camaraderie, and D'vorah's ability to listen to some of the most disturbing things I have heard in person, because I've never met a movie on war, people in war or people getting out of war. So it was sort of my own awakening and my own sort of learning process. But overall, it's a powerful testament into the power of love, as D'vorah has said. And it's just her this empathetic view on the world and seeking love and justice and fairness for all. I think it speaks a whole lot in the film, and I'm sure we all will watch it soon.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Comments?
I have a question. D'vorah, thank you. Thank you so much. Every slide demonstrated to me the power of love and the power of possibility. And that every moment you used every moment with every cell of your body to see what was within the realm of possible. And that is this has been such an inspirational hour and a half. I'm wondering if I have one question, and I'm also wondering if you have like a PayPal account or something you can put in the chat if people would like to donate.
Oh, thank you. Great idea.
And
Oh.
I'm wondering about the political climate, because I know that under President Morsi, he was very, and particularly when there was the refugee crisis with Syria, the doors of Egypt were much more open. And then when Sisi came into power, Sisi slammed the doors shut to refugees. And it seems that that he's become a bit more welcoming, but I'm wondering if you could speak to, if that's true, why the change, or if you could talk about the climate for refugees from Palestine and Sudan in particular.
It's really uncertain, and I mean, from what I know, and I am no expert on that at all, but the sense that I get is that the Palestinians, the Gazans in Egypt, are in no way optimistic about Egypt being kindly towards them. The embassies have not been helpful. Even the Palestinian embassy has not been helpful to the Gazans that I know. There's been little to nothing set up by Egyptian. Well, actually, I learned differently recently. There are Egyptian organizations that are stepping up to help the Palestinians, but I don't know if it's unknown. I mean, nobody knows where it's going to be right now. There's nothing that promising as far as Egypt doing much for the Palestinian refugees. I don't know. Yeah. They've taken in a lot though, but with the challenge of exploiting them as well, charging $5,000 to get out of Rafah. So yeah. No, LSCC is not beloved there, that's for sure. People are very afraid to say that. They won't tell you. Yeah.
Or can you clarify that? So this money that you paid and other people pay goes to the Egyptian government?
Not directly. It goes to the travel company. So the travel company is making a lot of money, but supposedly, probably in some kind of cahoots with the son of El-Sisi, is a friend with a partner of the company.
Oh.
Is what I've heard. But it's kind of hearsay, and I don't know what's true or not. They say allegedly that the company owners are connected in some way to the government. Yeah, well, we're coming on 8 o'clock. I don't want to keep you more. I mean, I'm happy to keep you more if you want to hear more. But looks like our questions have wrapped up. My PayPal is at D'vorah Kost. Yeah, just at D'vorah Kost. I think that's how PayPal works. I could put it in the chat. 5 new messages. Okay. Should I put that in the chat?
Wish.
Let's see. I've got
Not your email, D'vorah?
Yeah, my email address. That's how PayPal works. And let's see. I can let me put my email. I'm just having trouble with this. I'm on a different keyboard right now. Let's see.
So since it's we're almost done here, don't have a lot of time. D'vorah, you can send information to me and I can put it
Here.
on the FOR website, www.for.org, as it like Western Washington Fellowship
Okay.
of Reconciliation,
Yeah.
www.for.org. So,
Um,
send the information to me and I'll get it on the website.
Okay. Well, that's my email. I just entered it into the chat. And yeah, thanks, Janet. And yeah, PayPal just puts the @ in front of the name, and that would be me. And I can accept by PayPal. And if you have any questions, email me your questions. I do check email regularly. And thank you, Elaine, for being willing to take on a family in some way, huh? Excellent. So I need to get your email. Elaine, if you would email me and then I'll connect up with you. Did you give me your email in the chat or did I see it? Can't find it. Okay.
I just gave the phone number, but I will, yeah, email me and I'll send it. I got
Okay.
your number so I can actually text
Okay. We
the
can
email.
talk.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, dear.
Mhm.
Yeah, the piece that I just want to say that the part of my talk that I did not include is my Jewish background, and that I feel ever so strongly. It occurred to me that if I wasn't Jewish, I don't know if I ever would have gone to Gaza in the first place. But I feel like as a Jew who was awakened in my late 20s to the Nakba and the truth of Israel. I mean, as a youngster growing up in diaspora, post-Holocaust, I, like all the other baby boomer Jews, were very much supportive of Israel. It was our refuge. It was our homeland. It was the safety, and it meant that there will never be another Holocaust. And now, as I tend to use, to some people's dismay, I call what the Gazans are going through is kind of like their own Holocaust. It's not like the Jewish Holocaust, but it's the Gazan Holocaust. And it's perpetrated by Israel. So, and Hamas, of course. Hamas has a lot to do with it. But anyway.
Well, thank you so much, D'vorah.
Yeah.
We appreciate it's a compliment to you. We had so many people tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
It's wonderful.
Good.
If I
Well,
could
this was my first try, so I hope to refine it and do it again. Yeah, Reagan.
just one quick question. The photos of the young people's artwork ripped at my heart. Is there some way that you're planning to make those available, online PDF or slideshow or something, or the one in particular of the eye with the tear and the Palestinian
Yeah, I
flag?
have posters. I could send you one.
That would be wonderful.
Email me your address, Reagan. I'll send you a poster.
maybe you
Yeah,
could.
if any of you want a poster of the eye, email me your address and I'll send you a
Yeah,
poster.
and for others of you that are interested in that,
it.
wave your hands or make noise or whatever. It might be something that I'd love to have you send it to me, but you might also send it to Gene Buskin, who could shoot it out to the mailing list and possibly post it on the website. All of the photos, the one in particular, I'd love to share with people here in the Olympia area.
All right. Yeah, I can certainly post online. I can post on the screen.
But D'vorah, didn't you say you wanted to use it for fundraising?
I do. And so if I do send you an actual poster, I would like to. It's by donation, but I'd like it to be a minimum of $25, which would make it worth it to the artist. I mean, if somebody really wants a poster and you can't afford 25, I will send you a poster. But because Misk says she likes her art being seen and she wants it distributed, it would be nice if she could make money as well. Thanks, Elaine. Yeah.
Thank all for coming tonight. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I hope to improve on this and refine it. and do it again. So it will be different the next time, and it'll be what it'll be. But if there's a lot of info to fill in a short time. It's amazing how fast time flies when you got a lot to impart. Yeah, thank you all for being here. Thank you so much.
Shukran, D'vorah. Ma salama, inshallah.
Shukran, Bob. Yes. Noura, great to see you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Mhm. See you soon, I hope. Online or otherwise. Bye, Lane. Bye, Bert and Elaine.
It was great. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Mm.
Okay.
I feel like I kind of ran a marathon, but lot to put out there, and there's so much more, so much more.
Maybe we should end with breathing, D'vorah.
Oh, it's a nice idea. Breathe in the possibility. Breathe in possibility. Inshallah, the war will end soon. Let's take a moment to actually let's close our eyes. Let's make a little vibration with our hands. Actually, you keep your eyes open. Close them or open them, whatever. But I like vibrating because there are vibrations that go. So just like vibrating your hands and vibrating energy for whatever prayers you have for ceasefire, for peace, for land for Palestinians, a Palestinian land, for safety for those in Gaza, for safety and sustenance for those in Cairo. May it happen.
Ya salam, ya salam, ya salam.
They also say Ya Rab, Ya Rab, Ya Rab, Ya Rab.
Ya Rab, Ya Rab, Medet, Ya Rab.
Inshallah, Ya Rab, Ya Rab, Ya Rab. Deep breath in, deep breath out. So important. Yes, prayers are important. For Muslims, prayers are ever so important, ever so important. For Gazans, yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. And they believe with all their heart and soul that there will be rhyme and reason. Someday we will know and understand what this is all about. And good will come in the end for those who do good in the world. Good will come in the end, and bad will come in the end for those who do bad. There is a judgment. There is a judgment when all's said and done.
Justice.
Yes, yes. Thank you all for all your work for justice, and I know we've got lifelong activists in this crowd for sure.
There's a wonderful round. I'm going to sing just one little stanza of it that addresses justice.
Okay, go for it.
Just my hands can't tear injustice down. Just your hands can't tear injustice down. But 2 and 2 and 50 make a million. We'll see that day come round. We'll see that day come round.
Oh, may it be so.
Thank you. Beautiful, Reagan. Thank you for that. Very appropriate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How can we get a video of this program
Oh,
to show with other people?
we'll have to find out from David, I guess, how to get the recording.
Yeah, I'll find that out. I'm going to talk with Bruce about that.
Okay, great.
Well, thank you all. This has been great. Very, very enriching. I think in this light of appropriate at this time to end it.
Okay, Sue Donaldson, it's nice to, by the way. I just
I
want
may
to.
have to take executive action, David, because I think that all of the rest of us still on the call are finding it ourselves incapable of tearing
Yeah.
away.
Yeah,
Which
there's
is
no
a
rush.
testament to the program that we
If we
just.
want to chat, I mean, if anybody wants to stay here and chat, if I'm a co-host, I can end it later. People can open their screens and talk. I mean, my cousin
Yes.
Steve is there. I wonder if Steve, are you still in the room without your face being seen? He's in Berkeley. Kathleen Myers, yeah, and Glenn Phillips, yeah. Len Musara. I don't know, Lenny Musara, I don't know who you are. Anyway, Bert, it's always great to see you, whether in person or on the screen. We could do, again, it's like.
Lenny Masara is a very good friends of mine, daughter. Leonard Holden, Leonard and Eloise Holden's daughter.
Oh, okay.
Who some of us know.
Has she been to CBEC?
Yeah, she kind of sponsored it for a few years.
Oh, okay.
And she and Leonard ran Tacoma FOR for a long time.
Excellent.
And she's 102 now.
Lenny's 102?
Eloise is 102.
Oh, Eloise.
Yeah, Eloise is. And Leonard would have been more, but he's passed.
Oh, wow. All right.
So Lenny is their daughter. And there you can see them. And that's William too. William is her son.
Oh, great. Oh,
hi, William.
Nice. Wow.
Oh, and there's Eloise, I think.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my goodness. She's coming to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. How wonderful. Wow. Hello, Eloise. Wonderful to see you. Wonderful to meet you. Mashallah, as they say. And Bob, it sounds like you know some Arabic, huh?
Well, I was in the Middle East in 1985, and I spent time in Jordan as well as Israel. And one thing I picked up, I was with a Lutheran pastor, and I was listening back and forth. And the one thing I learned was Shukran Abuna, Masalama, Inshallah. And he was so impressed. So
those are key. Shukran is always key.
Well, I saved it for that's how many? 40 years, and here I was able to pull it out of the old kit bag. So it was a pleasure to say that to you.
That's great, because as some of you may or may not know, shukran means thank you. And when you are traveling in any foreign land, that should be first. If that's the only word you learn in the foreign language of the country that you're in, learn how to say thank you in the country. And even if you're at a restaurant where the waiter, is from a different language, and when we say thank you to the waiters, I sometimes say, what's your native language, or how do you say thank you in Thai? If I'm at a Thai restaurant, Indian restaurant. And then I can use that every time they bring me an item of food or water. I say the new word I learned.
That's the way to remember it.
That's right. Yeah. So there's Eloise. Hi.
Hi again.
Beautiful blue sweater. Yeah, I love it. And I love your smile. Thank you for coming to the screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Namaste. Have to go.
Namaste. Namaste, everybody. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Should let you go. Pleasure seeing you all.
Good to see
Well,
Okay.
before we close, I just wanted to say that I've been thinking about, as we're approaching the first part of July, remembering all the rich experiences and the connections that many of us in this group had when we went to CBEC. And I'm so grateful for all those opportunities. And of course, it's sad that it hasn't continued, but just to honor all that great work that happened over many years and the hard work that went into it. So
I thank you for saying that, Elaine, because CBEC and those years of my involvement with FOR and planning a few of those summers was really so meaningful for me and so wonderful to meet so many wonderful people. I loved those weekends. Such good people. Such good people there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah. All
I
right.
wouldn't know you if it wasn't for that.
That's true,
Maybe.
Elaine. You are right. That's a good point. And now Elaine and I are good friends. And Bert and I are good friends. And I wouldn't know you, Bert. So blessed be FOR and CBEC. Yeah. Sue Donaldson, I met you there, and yeah, all of you. Vivi. Ah, okay. Well, until next time. Be well. I'll let David close it out.